And with that, we go from Dr. Bott to Dr. Toubia, Professor Toubia, colleague at Columbia Business School and professor full-time, tenured, and extraordinaire of a number of different important points that we're seeing emerge in digital health, and certainly one of the leaders when it comes to understanding some of the mechanisms of change and some of the mechanisms that are fundamental in not just the business of health, but the business of digital health. And that is something that we're all seeing a lot more of these days, post-pandemic, if we are even post-pandemic, really endemic, if you will. And Professor Toubia is going to talk about the digital health reset and this idea around the era of AI and machine learning, and what some of his research has uncovered in terms of the efficacy and the overall effectiveness of some of these emerging tools that we've heard a lot about and we've seen rare cases where they're effective and efficacious. So Olivier, really good to see you again. Hoping you're having a good interim period between Thanksgiving and the holidays, and that your classes are winding down nicely and getting ready for final exams. But turning the virtual podium over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and please be prepared to lower your expectations. I will just talk to you briefly about some research that my co-authors and I have been doing. Don't expect any grand revelation, but just indeed trying to see how we've been using machine learning to maybe improve our processes, and in particular in this project, which hopefully you can see the slides. You can hopefully see the slides here.
Yeah, they're coming in. They're coming in loud and clear.
Yes. So we want to look at the issue of logos, and so just on the events homepage, and you can see all the logos here of the sponsors. And so a logo is very important. It's really the face of the brand. And so here we're trying to see if we can use machine learning to help digital health companies, digital health startups, and other companies think about what the logo, how the logo should be designed and what the logo conveys. So when you look at the logo, like the Roche logo, and the shape and the font, the color versus the Bayer logo, which has a different color palette, different orientation. What do these two logos tell us about the brand? So in marketing, we like to think about brands as people. So we like to think that brands have personality traits, just like people. And so you can be rugged, sophisticated, competent, sincere, and so on and so forth. And we like to think that the logo of a brand is going to convey something about the personality of the brand. And so what type of font and shape should you use if you want to convey that you have a competent digital health startup, or that you're a sincere company? So to do that, so this is just examples of brand personality that we think brands tend to have. And so to do that, we've built a machine learning, a deep learning model, and I won't go into the details. But basically, in words, what the model does is that it combines information from a bunch of companies, including some health companies and digital health companies, as well as other companies like Hershey and Coke. So we have a wide range of industries in our data, and we're trying to combine data on the logo of the company. We extracted the features of the logo, the shape, the font, the color, the schemes, and then we combine that with information about what the company does. So maybe a health company tends to use blue more than others. So we want to look at differences between industries, and also how consumers perceive the brand in terms of what is the personality of the brand. So is that a sincere brand, outdoorsy, sophisticated? And so we combine all of this in this machine learning model to try to find some common patterns that help us explain how different features of logos convey different things about the brand. So let me show you a little demo actually that we put together that's kind of, I think, pretty fun. So let me see. You can see here again the website, yes, hopefully. So in this little demo, we're helping, let's say you're a digital health entrepreneur and you want to design a logo for your company. And so you're trying to decide, okay, based on what I'm trying to convey about my identity as a company, what type of logo should I design? And so we allow here users to tell us what is your brand about. So maybe I'm a very confident brand. Maybe I'm not very corporate, but I'm pretty daring. And I don't want to be glamorous because I want to be very serious. But I want to be, though, exciting, maybe, and honest, and imaginative because I'm an innovative company, very intelligent because maybe I'm in the tech space. I want to be viewed as a leader in that space. And you can see how each time we change these traits, we update what type of logo the model tells you should try to design. So I don't want to be rugged. I want to be more sophisticated. I want people to feel secure. I want to be real. I want to be original, sincere, unique. So you can see how this always changes the font, the shape, the color, and so on and so forth. So this is just, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I just wanted to give you a few minutes of snapshot into the type of research we do, trying to bring data science to business and trying to combine some rather soft topics like creating a logo with some data intensive machine learning tools and trying to bring them together to try to help managers, entrepreneurs, digital health entrepreneurs optimize their path to success. So yeah, that's in a very brief nutshell. And I know we don't have too much time, so maybe we have time for a couple of questions, or maybe you want to move to the next speaker. Stan, I'll let you decide.
No, not at all. Tons of questions, and this is really a phenomenal presentation. And again, I think one of the elements, just for the audience, when you look at Columbia University, it's important that the audience understand that we have a tremendous bend on the quantitative, and you can see just how Professor Toubia is really deconstructing nicely the elements of brand and marketing and doing that. And one of the questions I'm getting from LinkedIn is from Rich, and he wants to know, when you look at these themes and what you're talking about, what are, if you were to have 3 bullet points to summarize them, what would be 3 major bullet points that you would generally prescribe to improving someone's brand, if you had 3 pieces of advice based on this extraction that you've done?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So first of all, I mean, we're trying to improve I think the question is about improving the brand. So I think taking a step back, actually, it's useful to think about your brand as a person. And so if your brand were a person, who would you be? Would you be something charming, tough, imaginative? So you can see here, Nike, if Nike were a person, they would have an active lifestyle. They would be inspirational, exciting, cool. And so I think it's useful when you're trying to create an identity for your brand to really have a clear understanding of what you stand for and who you want to be, and what type of traits you want to convey to your users. So that's more of the strategic question of, how do I build a brand in the first place? And then the more tactical operational issue here is, how do I then design a logo that is going to convey that? And I mean, it's a bit complicated because, as you can see in the model, there's a lot of interaction. So maybe if you're in the digital health world, maybe certain colors will work better than if you're in a CPG sector. So I don't want to tell you, use this type of font and use this type of shape. That's why we had to build the model, because it depends on a lot of other factors. But I think one of the key points, though, is to try to think about the emotional reaction that people will get from your logo. So maybe try to show your logo to a few friends, and try to see what type of emotional reaction it conveys. And then think, do I want to have a horizontal, vertical, square, round, lines? Do I want, so different types of font, colors. And then you can just use the link that I put on the chat to also test what the model would predict based on what you're trying to convey. I mean, I can also, I'm also going to put here the reference to the actual paper. So if people want to look at the details of the study and look at all the results, you can do that as well.
Yeah, and again, this idea of being able to use machine learning and AI to find ways to quantify brands and logos and how they relate to personality is wonderful. In terms of the tactical and the applied, how are some entities using these sorts of models to use on a strategy and an action-oriented basis?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we just published the paper, so it's still kind of off the press, so to speak. But I think some big companies have the tools to hire consulting firms that maybe don't use machine learning because they have internalized the human experience, and they know that if you want to convey certain traits in a certain industry, then this is the type of logo that you should be using. And so what we're trying to do here is really trying to give access to entrepreneurs. Maybe we don't have the resources to hire these consultants to actually be able to get maybe 80% of the way there with less money and less time. So that's why we put it out there for the open, and we let anyone use it. So, but we think that this would be more relevant again for people who don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to hire a branding company, and we actually are trying to do it themselves quickly and trying to bootstrap the logo design.
No, that's fantastic, and we work with so many startups, right? At Columbia, HITLAB, and there's so many startups that their brands really could use some renovations. And so having a machine learning tool, having an AI tool to take a look at their brand and give them that kind of independent feedback, because everyone, if your friend walks up to you or your family member walks up to you and says, "Hey, I just made this brand and they spent a lot of time on it, a lot of effort on it," you don't want to be the one to tell them their baby's ugly, and that's a very awkward conversation. Again, that's good. That just given that we just came out of Thanksgiving, that's sometimes with the
blame the AI.
In 3 years, you have those awkward conversations, but now it's definitely something that AI and machine learning can help us out with.
Yeah.
So really appreciate it. This is great. And, again, just brilliant thinking here and much appreciated. And so just looking through the chat box on some other questions, we look like we're safe there. Going back into LinkedIn and seeing what's on there. We've got about a minute left. And, I think there is a question coming in from Michael, and he wants to know what's the vision of this? Where is this going to be in 5 years? Are we going to have AI and machine learning writing new brands? That's what his question is. Where does this go next?
That's a great question. My thinking is that AI is going to be a sounding board, maybe a source of input to humans, but I don't think we should or we can replace humans at this point. First of all, creativity is fun. So why would you want to take that away from humans? That's one of the fun things we do. So why do you want to let machines do the fun part of creating stuff? And also, I think machines are not there yet in terms of really being able to have the intuition and making connections and having this, making meaning out of symbols. So I think really it's more about using computers as an aid, as a sounding board, as a way to scan a lot of information very quickly, to test lots of different things very quickly. But I think we should still be in charge. And I definitely don't see a world in which we completely outsource all of the creative side of innovation to AI. That's not me. I don't believe in that personally.
I agreed. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Well, this has been phenomenal. And again, thank you for your time today. And
You're welcome.
Wish you a great end of the semester, and hope that your
Thank you.
finals go well, and a great holiday. We'll talk to you
And
later.
that France does better in the World Cup than they did today also. All right. Bye. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Outstanding. So it is it is good to see that we're able to see some technologies that are going to be able to help digital health startups find either feedback on their brands or find different elements to help create brands maybe someday in ways that are more cost effective and ways that are definitely efficacious to help communicate their brands globally as digital health diffusion exponentially grows as well. And so that is really phenomenal. And we're at the 1:45 p.m. mark again. Any other questions that you have, please contact Professor Toubia directly. You have his LinkedIn here in the chat box. and certainly do take a look at what he's done and some of his papers, et cetera, for more information on using machine learning and AI in healthcare.